Joe Henry, Griffin, Stevenson back on one-on-one, joined now by a college football Hall of Famer, an NFL MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and a pretty good golfer too, Joe Theismann. Joe, thanks so much for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always great to join you for a second time, another year. Here we go again.
Absolutely. We had you on about the same time last year, and that's because you're going to be competing in this year's American Century Championship, 36th annual, been going since 1990, runs July 9th to July 13th over there at Lake Tahoe in Nevada, and it'll be televised on NBC. Opportunity to compete with some great athletes, current and former, and also some broadcast personalities, but also a chance to build community, contribute to a good cause as well. I know you guys have raised over $8 million now for charity over these past couple decades. So just how excited are you every year to come out, but especially this year to participate in what might be the biggest year yet?
I'm so excited. I mean, like you said, it's 36 years. I've participated in 35 of them. So for me, it's just been, an annual thing that I've been able to do. And you're right, we've raised over $8 million for the charities in the Lake Tahoe area. The American Century Championship is something that's really become special. And a little bit about American Century when it comes to charities, they give away 40% of their net profit to the Stower Institute in Kansas City for research on disease and cures. And it's just that type of a company that is so benevolent in what they do. And they provide $750,000 for this tournament. So 150 goes to the winner, and we get to divvy up the rest of sort of the leftovers for the rest of us. But and it's a great event. It's on the Golf Channel, NBC, and Peacock. And the televised events will be obviously the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And it's so much fun seeing so many of the people, and it's like a ritual every year. You get a chance to see everybody again. You look at the athletes that have competed, what they've done, the actors, the jobs that they've done, the musicians, the music that they've come out with, the comedians, their shows. And not only is the golf terrific, but the social aspect of it is absolutely wonderful. But we've added a really neat element to it. We talked a little bit about it last year, and it's really fun. It's the American Century Fantasy Golf Contest. And what it is basically is you can log on to accfantasygolf.com. The launch is the 23rd of this month. And you'll notice that there will be 5 groups of players, everybody broken down based upon their ability. You get to choose one from each group to create a fantasy team. And you can win every day. And if you do win that particular day, you wind up with 2 tickets to next year's tournament. If you win the whole thing, you wind up with a $10,000 check to the charity of your choice and 2 tickets to next year's tournament. So it's a lot of fun. You don't have to have the same team. You can move people around each day and change them up. And I think it's an element that we've added that really makes it a lot of fun for everybody, just like fantasy football has for baseball, basketball, baseball, hockey, and everything else.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a perfect way, I feel like, to get the fans even more involved this year. We mentioned that we had you interview a couple of our guys last year. This is your 35th tournament. You said in the last interview with us, you said that you could always drive the ball well, but the guys that do best in this competition are the ones that can putt well, have a great short game. Going into your 35th year, do you think you improved your game a little bit, or what aspects of your game do you think have improved the most from last year to this year?
I still haven't figured out those darn greens out there. I've tried to work on my short game. I can't drive the ball as far as I used to, and some of the par fours are a little harder to hit. So it's, I want to play smart. I don't want to keep trying to swing out of my shoes and, okay, there's only so far the ball's going to go for me now at this stage of my life. So I have to be better with my shorter irons. I have to be better with my wedges. I have to be better chipping and putting. And those are the things that I've been focusing on going forward into this tournament. But it's amazing just watching some of these people hit the golf ball. I mean, some guys just absolutely kill it. Hockey players, Josh Allen. I watched Josh Allen a few years ago on the range, and there are some trailers about 320 yards out where we hit the ball on our practice range. He was knocking it over the trailers. You stand there and look at just how amazing some of these guys are and how strong they are. Marty Fish won it last year. Of course, Steph didn't get a chance to participate last year because he was at the Paris Olympics. So, Steph Curry will be back. Had a hole in one in 2023. Tim Brown had a hole in one last year. And it's just, like I say, it's a great opportunity to reconnect with people you haven't seen in a while.
No doubt. You talked about your goal this year is to play smart. And something that always fascinates me talking to any athlete is the mental side of things. And I think it's especially poignant when you talk about golf because people refer to it as the ultimate mental sport. And I think outside of golf, quarterback might be the position in sports that's most mentally demanding and requires the most mental toughness to succeed. And I don't know if you know this, but more football players have won this tournament than athletes in any other sport. So my question would be, do you feel like the mental aspect of football has transferred over into your golf game and just how overall you think these two sports relate and have maybe made the transition into being a golfer in this competition maybe a little bit easier?
I think it's a great point. It really is. I mean, mental toughness to me is the key to success in anything in life. I wrote a book called How to Be a Champion Every Day. And it's one of the things I talk about. I mean, you can have athletic ability, you can have intellect, but if you don't have mental toughness, you're not going to survive, especially out on a golf course, because inevitably something's going to go wrong. I mean, you watch these great tournaments, you watch these great players, something happens and they get a little sideways. And you really have to be strong mentally to be able to compete and participate. I think for us as quarterbacks, as an example, so much of what we do is a transfer of weight forward. It's the load, it's the delivery, and it's the transfer of weight, which isn't so dissimilar to golf. But I mean, as the golf is a funny game, guys, because hockey, baseball, basketball, any other sport, it's reactionary. In golf, you hit a shot, and then you get to spend the next 3 to 5 minutes convincing yourself it's either good, bad, or you got to do something else. I mean, it really, really, truly is the ultimate mental game. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy it so much. It's a mental challenge.
I can speak from experience and say that, yeah, it is a mental challenge, especially for me out there. But something that I think is maybe one of the coolest things about this tournament is the moments that you get to see online and on TV between the different athletes, between the different competitors in your different pools, your pairings. I know last year on Sunday, on the last day, you were paired with another NFL legend, Steve Young, and then also with Bob O'Hurley,
Right.
kind of an eclectic mix there. But over the years, I want to know who's your favorite person that you've played with, and also if you could choose your dream pairing for this year, someone that's going to be participating this year to play with or tee off against, who would that be?
I don't, I've had a chance. They sort of pair us up a little bit like Notre Dame guys, Jerome Bettis and Timmy Brown. I've played with both of them. Quarterbacks, they paired us up. Matt Ryan and Ryan Fitzpatrick are two guys I've played with. Enjoyed them a lot. Fitz is a great guy to play with. I mean, you watch him on TV, you see the way he dresses. He's in 8 different cities. He's got kids born in 8 different cities. I mean, he's just a personality unto himself. He's a lot of fun to play with. And Steve Young's another one. Steve's a very, very bright guy, intellectual guy, got a lot going on. And to me, whomever I wind up playing with, I'm just thankful to be a part of the tournament for so many years. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about what we do. I appreciate the opportunity to compete because truthfully, we're competition junkies. When you leave the game or the sport you're in, where do you go next to get that thrill? Where is that, when you're lined up under center in a Super Bowl and the game's on the line, you don't find that in society. You don't find that anywhere in the world. Except maybe on a golf course when you've got a 4-footer to make to win or to at least post a good score, something like that. So golf sort of fills the void for so many of us when it comes to the competitive aspect of our life.
Yeah, one last question here for you. As everyone knows, you were highly successful during your time with Washington, a team that's had a lot of success recently, particularly behind the leadership of Jayden Daniels. I just wanted to know, and I think our viewers would like to know, have you had the chance to talk to him at some point throughout the season or after the season? And is there any chance that maybe a young guy like him plays in this tournament, whether now or in the future?
I think if Jayden liked golf, he'd probably get a chance to play for sure. I have had a chance to be around him. I've visited with him. I like to try and understand what he's thinking, the way he approaches the game. I have tremendous respect for him. I think a lot of the players have the same kind of respect. He earned that last year with his work ethic, with his performance. He's not only gifted athletically, but he's very, very hard at working at the trade of being a quarterback. And he's smart. You look at the way he tries to protect himself. He's not the biggest guy in the world. I mean, certainly he's not a Josh Allen. He's not a big, strappy guy who can run around or over people. He just sort of slides down, gets out of bounds, protects himself, gets up, gets ready for the next play. To me, that's smart football. And I just think he'll get better and better the more he understands the game. Anybody they'd be lying to you if they said, well, I expected him to have that kind of success that he had last year. I thought he was a really good football player, and I thought he just continued to develop as the year went on and became an exceptional football player at the end of the year.
I'm sure if he got out on the golf course, he'd probably do a little VR training beforehand, knowing him. I mean, it's a sport with simulators. Got to make the switch.
Yeah, I haven't. This is the year that I'm going to go over to the facility and try the simulator on to see what it really looks like. Because, see, when I played, we didn't have communicators in the helmet. We signaled everything in from the sidelines. We didn't have the visuals to be able to study and learn as the guys do today. And I think it's a great aid for them. And I've talked to Coach Quinn about it. I said, I'd love to put that thing on and see what the simulator looks like, see how it feels, just to get a sense of, how they can continue to grow without necessarily having to be on the field. Because really, they're just not on the field that much. I mean, you got 3 preseason games. The starters aren't going to play hardly, if anything. So they're not going to see the field till the opening game.
No doubt. Well, you mentioned Josh Allen a couple times, talked about Steph Curry won in 2023, talked about Marty Fish in 2024. I think before we let you go, we'd be remiss not to ask, do you have a prediction for the winner of this year's American Century Championship?
Yes, I do. And this is sort of out of the box. Okay. But I know the mental state of this individual. I know the competitive nature of this individual. I know how badly he wants to win it. I'm going with John Smoltz to be the oldest winner of the American Century Championship.
That'd be amazing.
How about that? A dark horse pick.
Huh?
Wow. Dark horse.
Yeah, I truly believe that Annika Sorenstam, she's been so close, she has a chance. You're going to see the usual suspects. Vinny Del Negro won it a few years back. Obviously, Steph is now had a chance to be able to get healthy and play. Marty's always tough to beat. There's just Tony. Tony's had a wrist issue a couple years ago, but he's been there. I mean, there's probably a dozen people that you could look at and say they have a legitimate chance to win this tournament, which makes it even more exciting for the fans.
Well, Joe Theismann, Notre Dame and Washington great, and a staple at the American Century Championship. You can watch him compete in the 36th annual event this year, runs July 9th to 13th. It'll be on NBC, Peacock, and the Golf Channel. Joe, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, guys. Great catching up with you. Take care.
All right, we'll be right back on One on One.